Cool. Well, I think I want to take a moment before we go too far to just look at our homework for the last couple weeks. We have here, um, we're in week 6, I believe. Oh no, we're in week 7. So week 6, zoom in a little bit here. There we go. Was basically just the Facebook clone. And in class last week, we worked on some of these friend features where you can see the profile of other users and you can request to be friends and then you can accept and reject. But what we didn't work on last week was the profile features. Has anybody started on this one yet?
No.
So in Facebook, you can put a little bit of information about yourself. You got a profile photo, and you can see a list of your friends. When you're looking at somebody else's profile, you can see a list of their friends. And a couple other things here. Each user has a wall, which is visible only to friends, and that wall is where you can post comments. And that's what we're looking at. That's this view we're looking at here, where we've got this wall with comments that you can post to. So we've got a lot of features in just a small thing here. And this is pretty realistic to bubble development and web development in general. It's really easy to describe what you want a website to do really quickly. Just takes a few lines of text. But to actually build it out is significantly more work. So this, you might look at these 3 things and think, this is a very simple, easy website. But actually it's a very intensive website. There's a lot to it. And each word in this is very important. And so you have to spend a lot of time looking at each word to understand what the feature means. So this week, the homework is to continue and finish the Facebook clone by next week. So it's a lot. So hopefully you got a start already. That was the homework for this week, was to start. And then for next week, you want to finish it because next week is the last session. And I also want to mention we have this speed competition. So if we have time, we can go into the speed competition. But if you watched the video of the speed competition we did last time, then you'll get a picture of what that's going to look like. So next week is the last session of class. We need to schedule a graduation ceremony. So look in Slack. We will coordinate on the best time. It might just be 1 week later. Does that seem like a good time? Wednesday night, 1 week after this week. So this week is January 24th to January 31st. So next week, should we just make the graduation be January 31st? Or should we, I guess we should make it the week after that, right? The first week in February. We'll talk about it in
That would be
Slack.
actually great. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in Slack. We'll figure that out. But if you want to be one of the competitors in the competition at our graduation, the way you do it is you submit a video of yourself making a to-do list. And so these are the steps as to meet the requirements of inputting a task, displaying a task, and marking a task as done. And you need to record yourself making that entire application in less than 10 minutes. And when you're done, you can submit that recording in Slack. And I just want to show real quick how you make a recording in Slack. It's really easy. If you use it on your desktop, not on your phone, but on your desktop, you just click this little button here. And here, look, there's me. Hello. And you can turn on and off the camera. You can turn off the camera if you want and share your screen. So right here, if you click that, it'll share your screen and click record. So it's pretty easy to make a video in Slack. and post it directly into Slack.
Yeah, we didn't see the one you show us how to record. I think you cover in the back, so can you show us again?
Oh yeah, it's because here, just a moment. I need to adjust my screen share.
Brenton, do you know off the top
Yes.
of your head how to center text vertically?
It's kind of a pain.
Oh,
Um,
great.
yeah, there's a checkbox in text to center text vertically, but that only works if the element has a vertical height to it. What I usually do, depending on how you're lining things up, what I usually do is I try not to center text vertically as much as give it padding on the top and the bottom, and then let it conform.
I
But there
gotcha.
is a button. There's a button to center text vertically. Remind me, once I get my bubble editor up, remind me to pull that up again.
Okay.
But yeah, so these were the questions these are the speed competition steps I was looking at earlier. And let me just once again show in Slack to create a video, you click on this little button down here. You see it over there? Yeah, it's really easy. So you click that, and then you've got your video. You click on this to share the screen, and you're good to go. So do that, and then build a to-do list in 10 minutes for the competition. The people who won last year, the people who got admitted into the competition, and the people who won, all practiced many times. They made many to-do lists. Practice makes perfect. So any questions about the homework or what we're doing or anything before we jump into the lesson for this week?
The last video you didn't upload, so can you upload for us the video last time you did?
Yeah,
The
so
user
the
requested the
video,
video.
still late on the video. Yeah, I'll get that uploaded.
And
We'll get
both
that
of them,
uploaded today.
the today also, both of them at the same time, if you get a chance to upload that.
Yeah, it just takes a while to process them. So I'll get them up as soon as I can. I should get the one from last week up today. No promises on when the one from tonight gets uploaded.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get it up as soon as I can.
No.
Cool. So that question on vertically centering text, let me give a quick example. So here's current page's username. So if you wanted to vertically center this, I mean, the first thing I would try to do is just mess with the paddings on the top and the bottom. So like you could make this 90 and 90. And depending on what it's in, that if that's the height of the container, that looks vertically centered, even though it's technically not. But another way you could approach this is if there's a height to the container. Let's say the height is 200. Let's make it 300 to make it more visible what the difference is. So now it's up at the top. And this is the text element itself has that height. So what you can do is over here in appearance, where is that checkbox? Here, center the text vertically. And so that only works if the text element has a height that is greater than the text has, if that makes sense. So that's one way to do it. Another way you could do it, if you didn't happen to have that exact situation where the text element itself has a great height. Another way you
Fantastic.
could do it is you could give it a parent. Let's say the parent, we'll just call this parent. So we got the text in here, and then the parent, let's say the parent is tall now. The parent is 300 pixels. And so now we've got this situation again where, and you might have multiple items in here, it's not vertically centered anymore. So in that case, you can go to the parent and say the container alignment is in this little centered thing. And now the text is centered within its parent. What's nice about this is if you've got multiple things, I'm going to change the size here so that it's easier to put a couple. If you got multiple things, now they can both be centered, vertically centered. If you use this strategy where the parent has this container alignment like that. I'm gonna go back, undo all that. Okay. Did one or both of those fit the situation you were in?
Yes, it did.
Cool. I heard happy noises coming from you.
Indeed, thank you.
Yeah.
Which one did you?
For what?
So, sorry, go ahead.
Nothing.
Okay. So in between last week and this week, I spent a little bit of time cleaning up the visuals on this. So you'll notice it's a little bit improved. I also added a whole bunch of fake users. Well, I guess they're real users. I created a bunch of bubble users who are not real people, but they are real users on the system. And so we can friend request these people. I also added in the post functionality. This is so similar to a to-do list or the chat bot that we did before that I don't think it's necessary for us to go through this again. You kind of know the drill here. But let's say I'm just saying hello to Jake. And then when you post it, it shows up down here. Jake is the person who wrote it. And this is on Jake's wall because I'm on Jake Jacobson's page. So to finish all of the items in here, there's a couple more features we need to add. And actually, one of them is seeing the public profile of all other users. That is technically possible if I happen to know the link of another user right now. So I could go into my database and find a user and get their user ID and then come up here and then paste in their user ID, and I can see this person's wall. But that's not a very user-friendly way to do things. What would be better is if I had a list of my friends here that I could get to very easily by just clicking when I'm on my homepage. And you notice too, I went to a new page and it still has this blue as if I'm on my homepage, but I'm actually viewing somebody else's homepage. So that's a problem I'm noticing. And also in the list of requirements, there is, it says that this is a public profile. So every user has a public profile, not necessarily one that's only visible to friends, but one that's visible to everybody. And so that means that you can actually see the profile of people who are not your friends yet in this friend suggestion. So my first thought here, just excuse me, is let's make these into links that take you to that person's public profile. And then let's make sure that we're correctly showing only the things that we want to show. So, and by the way, the reason I want to do this first, kind of fill out this link to make it work first, is because after I've got this built, it'll be pretty useful to me as a repeating group that's got links and styling and functionality. And I want to copy the entire thing over here underneath my friends. So I'll have a list of my friends and I'll make some changes. It won't be the exact same list as the friend suggestions. It'll look different, but I want to start with as complete as possible of a list of friends because I'm thinking the list of friends here will have a lot of the same functionality. For example, if I click on the person's name, I want to go to their profile, both here and here. So if I build this out until it's done or as done as I can make it, and then copy it over, then I'll kind of get to just copy a lot of that work over without having to do it twice. So in here, the name of the user displayed, we want to set a action workflow. And what I want to happen, just to review, when I click on this, I want to go to that person's page. And you might remember, like, let's look at this just to jog our memories. The current page's user's username. So we're getting the name of the user. We're getting all the information for the page from the current page. And what does that mean? That means the page, which is up here, index. If you look at the type of content, the type is user. And we're feeding that user through this URL right here. This is a user ID. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong one. This is the user ID right here. This is a user ID. So we happen to be looking at one user, when we're on this page, but if we feed a different user to the page in the type of content, then the page will change to display for that page. So in this workflow, what we want to do is we want to go to a page. And really what we're doing is we're going to the page we're already on. So we're not actually changing the page, but this go to page, what this does is it gives us this field, data to send. And this data to send, what this is this page type of content. So type of content is user, and we're going to send some data to this page's type of content. In other words, we're going to send a user to the page, and then the page will be a user, will be whatever user we send. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not losing anybody here. I'm going to take a step back again and kind of like talk through it one last time before we do it. When I click on this, I want the whole page to reload with this user as the new page for that user. Okay. So when I click on this, I want the page to reload. I'm going to send this parent group's user to the page. That was a lot of talking, and then the actual amount of work was like 2 things. So let's see what happens. So right now I'm Lila Gracewood. Let's click on Paul. You see instantly it changed. Say, hello, Paul. Cool. Now let's go to Jasper. Hello, Jasper.
Hey, question, Brenton.
Yes.
Shouldn't be the person who creates the post has the name?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you're
so
writing
when
on
down here,
somebody's post.
it has the name, it has the page name instead of the user who posted its name. Yeah. Yeah, good point. Let's fix that right now since you pointed it out. So this was right in here. This was looking at the parent group's post user's username. So why is that not working? So somewhere in here, parent group's post, that one's the parent group, current cells post, search for posts. Okay, so the data this is actually correctly getting the name from the data because it's getting it all the way from the current cells post. So what this means is that our database, the post itself, we are saving the wrong information in the database. And so that is coming from here.
Yeah.
Say that again?
Yeah, so it's coming from the create new thing, which is the post, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, it's coming from this button. When we create a new thing, we're saving the wrong information. So let's go in there and take a look at the mistake. So create new post. User is current pages user. So we were saving it as the current pages user no matter what. So what should it be? Let's clear that out. What should it be?
Pardon?
Say that again?
Pardon page?
Parent page? No, we don't want the pages user. This is the problem. We're already doing that. So Alara Thorne is the page, and whenever you type anything, it posts as if she was the one that made the post.
Yes.
But it really should be whoever is the current user.
Current user
So it's not the parent user.
should be correct.
The parent user would be, I don't think this element even has a parent to it that has a user on it. Yeah, there's no user on the parent element, and there's no user on this element. We want the current user. Whoops. So the user that's logged in. We'll refresh. By the way, I just noticed there was kind of a bug where I was typing and nothing was coming up. There we go. It's still showing up as Alara Thorn. I don't know why. Let's look at the database and see what happened. Post.
Yeah, it was, but it's not showing, it's in the actually, the text, the actual like text. It's showing the
Okay, look at
parent
this.
group instead of the,
It's showing that it was created by Alara, which means I'm logged in as Alara. Which actually, I don't know how that's happening because okay, you know what? There's something weird happening here. It didn't do anything. It didn't make that change. However, if I come over here and refresh, I bet we'll see it. Nope. So that just kind of disappeared. Let's turn on the debugger to see what's going on. So down here on the bottom, this always shows up when you click on preview. And if it goes away for some reason, you add this parameter at the end, debug mode equals true. And when debug mode is true, then down here you get this debugger and it gives you some tools. So right now, normally it's in normal. Right now I set it to step by step. And what that will do is it'll step through the workflows, one workflow action at a time whenever one is triggered. So when I click on this, we'll actually get to see what workflows happen. So it paused on step one of our workflow. So button post is clicked. Yep, that makes sense. Let's go to the next step, create a new post. And it's saying the content will be hello. And if I click on it, if it's blue, you can click on it. It'll even tell me what the content hello is coming from. It's coming from input B's value. Value is hello. Now let's look at current user. Current user is Alara Thorn. And so I don't see any problems with this. When I click next, we reset the input and this will disappear. And that's the end. So the question is, why didn't it land? Let's do one more test. Let's see where it's actually creating the post. Where is that post going? So post, current user. Oh, I know what the problem is. So the current user is there's two users in a post. Two relevant users. So let's actually look at the database here. So in a post, we have the user who posted and the user who was posted to. So the user whose wallet was and the user who made the post. So when I changed this to only go to save the current user, what I forgot is that I built the repeating group to look at that to find out if it belonged on the wall or not. So this search for posts, this repeating group down here, this search for posts is looking for posts where the user is the current page user. So this is a case where I kind of forgot what I was doing, but it's a great opportunity to talk about how to avoid making mistakes like that. And I think the source of this mistake was that this just said user, and it didn't describe which of the users I needed this to be. So I actually built this very importantly for this to be the user that has the wall. So the wall's user. But I didn't make that clear. So in Bubble, you can write anything you want in the field names. So I can write walls user. You see how I've even got like apostrophes and things. So sometimes I just revert to my programming days and I'll do things like walls user, like as if it's a variable that is in a programming language that has constraints. But Bubble doesn't have those constraints. You can even do things like put emoji in if you want to. But Wall's user, do you think that's a little bit more clear that this is the user that is receiving the post? And so if that is the case, then we come back here, then looking at this, I can see right here, Wall's user, it's very clear to me now that this is not the current, this is, oh wait, why did that get, this got changed back. It's not the current user, it's the current pages user. We could even make the database maybe a little bit less likely to make a mistake by saying current pages user. I'll just say Wall's user. I think that's maybe clear enough without getting confusing. So I don't remember changing this back to the current pages user, but so this is now correct, but there's still this bug, right? So if I refresh, we should see this work better now. Yeah, there's still this bug where no matter which user I am, it always says Lila Gracewood here. So we need to get the name from a different place. Right here, I'm getting it from the parent group's post Wall's user. See, now because I've changed that variable name, it's clear to me as I'm looking at this expression that it's wrong because it's saying this is the Wall's user, but I don't want the Wall's user. So that gives me a little hint that what I really want is the post's creator, whoever created this post. And I change that. Now, if we refresh, we should see the name of the poster. It's a little detour. Okay, so there's some other problems that are popping up that we need to fix. Is anybody noticing some of the problems? I'll give you a hint. Alara is not friends with Brenton Strine.
Oh, no.
So right now, anybody can come to any wall and write anything they want. Look, this Jack B. Nimble is just writing spam. So users can see the public profile, but the profile shows a list of friends. Let's see, where's this? Oh, the user has a wall which is visible only to friends, and users can post on a wall that they have access to, their own wall or their friend's wall. So what this is saying here is you can only post on a wall. In fact, you can only see a wall if you're friends with that person. And so right now, this is just completely open. Anybody can post to any wall. So we need to block that off. So let's think about that. How can we block off this wall from being posted to unless you're a friend? Well, first off, let's just think, how would you block this wall off? Let's just say we want to do it manually. How would you block this out so that it's not accessible
We through the condition, I think, right?
in a condition?
Yeah.
So let's call this top group, I'm noticing group G, let's just call this wall. And now, so this naming, by the way, it's not just for fun or because it's, I want to keep things organized. If I don't name important things like this, then it's not always clear what the condition is applying to. So I'm about to build a condition here on a group that didn't have a name. And as soon as I was about to do that, I thought I better give this group a name because that will help me understand what the condition is for later when I come back and I'm trying to understand why I made this condition. Okay, so we're going to make a condition that'll hide this. So let's just go ahead and say element is not visible. It'll hide the whole element. And when are we going to hide this entire wall?
The current user is not friend. Current user.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
not
the current
friend.
user is not friends. And can you remember in our database, how do we define what a friendship is in the database? We're defining it with this thing called a friendship join. So the definition of a friendship is if there is a friendship join and both the two users are in that friendship join. So we're going to have to do a search for friendship joins with both of those users. So we're going to find a friendship join where, whoops, the friends contains both users. So we're going to get the current user. And now here's a question for you. Here's one. How do I get the second one? I can get one user. Here's another user. How do I get both? So I could do this thing where I make this into a list, convert it to a list, and then I can say current pages user, and I can say current. So I can add an item, current user. But now we're in trouble because this search is trying to see if the friend contains one item and we're passing a list. And what we really need is there's a connector called isIn. So we're going to have to think of a different way to approach this because our database requires a list there. One thing we can do is we could do it in 2 steps. So we can get the current pages user. Whoops. And then contains current user. I think this will work, actually. I'm not sure. I haven't done this exact thing before, but I think it'll work. There, it's blocked off. So which user is this again? This is Alara. So let's make a friend request to Jack Be Nimble. Oh, there's a bug right there that didn't disappear when I clicked on it. But now we'll go and log in as Jack Be Nimble. Where is Jack? I think this one is Jack. Run as. Oh, the friend request didn't actually go through. So let's go back to Alara and see what happened. And I'm going to turn on this and see what happened. So click on that. Oh, there's no workflow anymore on that. Somehow we lost the workflow. How did that happen? Oh, there it is. Did we not just see this not work? Material icon is clicked. Oh, here we go. I'm not seeing the actual step after that. Oh, that's a different one. There's this one. So there's 2 items. So that material icon person add thing was clicked. These are named confusingly. So I'm going to go in, right click on this and say reveal the element to find it. There it is. And I'm going to call this the add person icon. And then this one is named badly. I'm going to call it add person container. And let's just remind ourselves which one is which when I click on that again. So add person icon is clicked, nothing happens, and then nothing happens. So add person icon has this workflow that does nothing. Let's delete that. Now this icon copy, reveal the element. Oh, bubbles wigging out again. See this, I renamed this to add person container, but up here it's calling it icon copy. And I think that's because this got changed here and this name didn't get updated. So if I delete that, now it'll name itself better. So that's a little bit less confusing. Let's go back one more time. See if we can understand what's going on here. Okay, I think I cleaned it up. So now add person container is clicked, create a new friendship join. So, you know, I don't 100% understand what just happened there, honestly, but I'm really good with the debugger tools. So when little weird things like that happen, I'm able to diagnose the issue. And you might have noticed that a lot of diagnosing the issue was cleaning up the app, making the names match, making the names more descriptive, making the app easier to understand. And the process of making it easier to understand helps reveal the nature of the problem a lot of times. So now that we've done that, I think, yeah, let's do it one more time. See what happens when we request Paul. Yeah, he disappears the way that he should. So earlier when I said there was a bug there, I was right, but I thought the bug was that it wasn't hiding it when you click it, but the bug was it just wasn't doing anything. So now we can go back to Jack Be Nimble, and we should see a friend request. Did that not go through? Let's take a look at the friendship join. I think it didn't. I think I didn't click on Jack Be Nimble correctly. Yeah, I didn't. All right, we're gonna run as Jack Be Nimble. There we go. So now when we accept, now Alara is friends with Jack. We can go back to be Alara again. And we go to, if we go to Jack's page, which we can't get to using that link anymore, but we'll just get to it using the ID. We should be able to see his wall now. We couldn't see it before. Now we're friends with Jack. We should be able to see his wall. So it's not there. So now let's figure out why this is not showing up. And this is where you use this inspect over here. So you open this up, and what this does is it gives you access to this list of all the elements on the page. And you can try and scroll through and find the one you want, but that's usually not very helpful for me. Usually what I do is I come into the bubble editor, and I come in here and I find the element I want in here, and I remind myself of the name. Remember, I named it wall. So here's wall. Now let's come in here and type in wall to find that and figure out some information. So you click on it and it's already telling me it's invisible. So there's, I mean, we already know that. That's why we're looking, but that's some information to start with. So we see there's a condition here, and we see the condition. We can get the actual, we can look at this condition and see how it actually works. And we see a whole bunch of other information about this element, which is wall, this one, wall. So we can see, like, is it clickable? What kind of alignment and styling and padding does it have? So a ton of information. But right now we're trying to figure out if it's visible. So if I do a search for visible, I see this. The element is visible, no. And then I look up here on the condition. The result of this condition is the element is visible, no. And this condition is green, which means that it did in fact return true. So this search returns true, and then we turned the element not visible. And I think we meant to do the exact opposite. We meant to make it visible. And actually, this search is not even finished. So what we wanted to do the search to see if you can find a record that has both users in it. And so we want to count to see if the count is greater than or equal to 1. Really, we just want to know that there's at least 1. Okay. Now, if we refresh, there we go. We can see the wall is actually there. And let's inspect just to look at this again. So now again, here's the condition, same condition again. And you can dive in and look at each part of it. I can see what was the search, how many results were there. I can look at the count. The count was 1. Is count less than or equal to 1, yes. And then we can see the result is the element is visible. Now by default, the element is not visible. You see this no? So by default over here in the layout, the element is not visible. Oh, but it is visible. So how surprising is that? That might mean that if I visit somebody who I'm not friends with, I can still see their page. Yep, I'm not friends with this person and I can see their page. So this wall needs to be not visible by default. And we should probably collapse it. So now that I've made this wall not visible by default and it's only visible when the condition is met, when I'm looking at a person who I'm not friends with, when I refresh, the wall should disappear. Am I friends with this person after all? Or did I make another mistake? Am I still, I just realized I don't know where my Zoom controls are. Is everybody still connected? Oh, there you are. Okay. For a second, I thought I was speaking to an empty room. You can all hear me still?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay, good. So this is showing less than or equal to 1 is true. And so the bug here, does anybody see the bug? I wanted to find out if there was at least one record, but I instead looked for if there was less than one record. So this should have been the other way around. Greater than or equal to 1. And now and by the way, like this was a very simple bug, but if I didn't have this inspector to come in here and look at this and look at exactly what was happening and which condition was causing it to be true and which condition was causing it to be visible, it could have taken me a very long time to fix that bug. I mean, a bug like this could take you hours, especially on a more complicated page. So getting familiar with this inspector is incredibly helpful. So I'm going to refresh it, and now I think it'll work. There we go. And let's look at that wall one last time, just to be sure we understand what's happening. Well, okay, condition is false this time because we built it correctly. And as a result, the element is visible. No, by default, is just not visible. So what we just did here is we did this, users can see public profile, and we did some of this. Each user has a wall which is visible only to friends. Users can post on any wall they have access to. So we just satisfied these 3 bullet points here. I think we've already done this. We've already done this. We don't have the profile yet and the profile photo, and we don't have the list of friends. And also, I think it would be very useful to have links to all of your friends here, because right now, remember when I became friends with somebody, I could no longer get to their page unless I got the ID from the database. So that's very user unfriendly. So it'd be really nice to have a list like this over here of people that I'm currently friends with. And you may remember me saying earlier that I had a plan in my head to copy this. So I'm going to come up, reveal it in the element tree, and I'm going to get the entire repeating group. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come right over here and paste. Now this is the wrong repeating group because it's getting users that I'm not friends with, but we want users that I am friends with. So we're going to do a completely different search and clear this out, make a new search. And how do we know that 2 people are friends? Can you remember the rule there?
Friendship users.
I didn't quite catch that. Friendship what?
On the friendship user on the data source.
data source. So in data, okay. So you said friendship user. What is
We all a friendship joins or
a friendship join?
uh,
Yes. Yep. Yeah, the friendship joins. This database is showing the friendship joins. So this needs to be a user, but we need to search for friendship joins. So is this going to cause a problem for us? It actually isn't, because even though you might start with searching for joins, friendship joins, after you get the joins, because the joins have users on them, you can get the user from the join. So you may start with the search for joins, but you'll have the list of joins and the joins have users, and you can get the users out of the joins and pass the user to the repeating group, which is expecting a user. So
Does that
normally
list
when I
have-
click on,
Does that list have a length of
Yes.
2 always?
no, it's a list. It doesn't have a defined length, but it should always have a length of 2.
Okay, so it's not like a 2 tuple or something is what,
No,
right,
so
I got you,
in
but in
Bubble, it's
this
just a
case,
simple list.
in our hypothetical constraints, it is a list of 2.
Yes, if there's ever a list that is more than 2, there's been a problem.
Gotcha,
But Bubble will not stop us from making that list get more than 2.
yeah.
Yep. So yeah, so this is usually when I'm doing a search for a repeating group, the search needs to match the type of content, but we're going to extend a little bit beyond that today. So search, and surprisingly, we're not going to search for user. We're going to search for friendship join, and we're going to find friendship joins that, so I want to find friendships where I'm friends with them. So it has to contain me, and it has to contain them. But actually, we just want to get a list of all of them. So we're only going to find the friendship joins that contain me and where the status is accepted. So friendship joins exist that are either pending or rejected. So that status is important. This will get all of the people I'm friends with. Now, it turned red. Even though that search is correct, it turned red because, and actually, let's look at the issue that pops up. Repeating group user, data source should be a list of users, but right now it is a list of friendship joins. So it's exactly what I was talking about. We've got a type mismatch. It needed it to be type of content user, but this search is returning a type of content friendship joins. But if you click on more, we can get, for each item that's in that list, we can get the friends out of it. And so now we have a list of users, a lot of users. So we're going to do a couple things to clean this up, because this is just all users. First, we're going to get unique elements. So we might have the same user in there multiple times for some reason. So we're going to clean that out. And we're also going to subtract myself, because in these list of friendship joins is me. And I don't need to see myself as a friend of myself. So we're going to operate on that again by subtracting or minus an item. And the item is going to be me. So we'll just do current user, because that's me. All right. Now let's refresh and take a look at it and see the things we need to change. So what would you change here? What I'm noticing is this little plus icon. This is the add friend icon. These are friends that you're already friends with, so we don't need that. There it is. Let's just delete that. And then should we indent it or something to make it kind of seem like it's up underneath that? I think we should. So I'm going to do that with a layout margin left. We'll say 18 more pixels. And then I'll give it a little indent. so that it's clearly a part of there. And also, when you copy an element, you lose the workflows. So before, if I clicked on an element, there was a workflow that would take me to that page, but it's gone now. So there's a couple ways we could approach this. One, I could just click on add workflow and rebuild it from scratch. But another thing we could do is we could come over here and look at this other one, and it's already doing exactly what we want, right? So one thing you can do is you can click on the workflow, like the parent workflow element, and copy it and then paste it. Now you have two that are identical, but what's nice is you can just change the element that this second one refers to. And so which one do we want it to refer to? We want it to refer to this cell. We'll call this friends cell. And now, just like that, this workflow is attached to the friends cell, and it's, I think, doing the right thing already. So we'll take a look. So let's go to Maxton. Yep. Okay. So we're starting to see some other issues, I think, right?
Yeah.
I can browse my friends, but this menu is my friends. And so it's kind of weird if I go on my friends page and I see my menu of my friends. So we're going to have to clean that up next. But we're getting close to the end of the hour. So I'm not going to go into how to do that. I'm also noticing that this wall is not showing up again for some reason. So I'm not sure what happened there. We'll have to debug that as well. But by the end of next week, let's see what else needs to be done. We've done this, can accept or reject. Each user has a profile with information about themselves. So there needs to be some way for the user to upload a profile photo and a little bit of information like, I don't know, your favorite color and your birthday or something, you know. And then show a list of their friends and a count of how many friends they have. So we built something similar to that, but this is for me only. We need to make this work for whatever the current page is instead of for me only. And we probably need to change what this says to be Leela's friends instead of my friends. Each user has a wall which is visible only to friends. We kind of did that here, although I don't know why it seems to have broken. Users can post on a wall they have access to, their own wall, their friend's wall. We did that. Posts maybe text or image. We haven't done that yet. And then users can like posts they have access to. So there's a lot of new features here we don't have time to get into. But that is the Facebook project. So any questions about what we talked about tonight or anything else?
So did you post this in last week? The record
The video from last week?
and this one?
I did not post the video from last week yet, but I'll post that tonight, hopefully. And I recorded the video for tonight, but I will post that as soon as I have time, as soon as I'm able.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, but this project is there's a lot to it that I'm not covering in the videos. So you're gonna have to spend a lot of time looking carefully at the requirements and figuring out how to do it on your own or getting help from the TAs. How's everyone doing?
Okay. Really good.
Good to hear. All right, usually I go over a little bit. Tonight we ended early. Also, usually there's more questions. Okay, let's take the last 2 minutes. This is bugging me that this is kind of so close, but not quite working. Let's make this key off of the current page instead of my friends. So go back to this repeating group here. So right now, this search for users, wait, is that really correct? This doesn't seem correct. That was the, that was, oh, okay. So you see what happened here? I thought I was editing this repeating group, but I was editing this repeating group. So you see search for friendship joins. This expression was meant for this repeating group, but I accidentally put it on this one. So I basically switched the expressions on these because when I copied this one over, it kept the old one. So here's an interesting way you can move expressions around. So I think you know you can copy and paste, but if I copy this expression from this one and I go to the other one and paste it, then I'll lose the expression that's in this one. So I need to create a holding cell. So I'm going to use this conditional and set the data source in here. Copy this. Actually, I'm going to do it this way, where I start over here, copy this one, and this expression needs to come to this one. I'm going to put it in this little holding cell, paste. Now I'm going to copy this one out of there, copy and clear. We don't need that there anymore. And put it in the other one, clear that one, and paste. You don't have to clear it first. By the way, I was just doing that to be super clear about what I'm doing. Go back to the repeating group, get this out of there, copy, can remove that now, and paste. Okay, so I switched them. Okay, there we go. But it's still the same issue because it'll always say Jack be nimble. But now these are correct. And I need more friends too. Let's see. I want to friend request everybody. No, I shouldn't have done everybody because then it'll make our thing look weird. Let's delete a couple of those last ones. But now I want to log in as some of these users so I have at least 2 friends just to make it more clear. What's happening? There we go. All right. Now we'll go back to this user. Now I got 2 friends. 2 friends and 2 friends I'm not friends with. So as I switch to these different people, the list of friends never changes. And that's because they're my friends, not the page's friends. So let's fix that real quick. This time it'll actually be quick. So we're searching for the friendship joins based on the current user. What do we need to change that to?
The parent group.
The parent group?
No.
Well, in this case, what is the parent group's thing? The parent group's thing is group E, which does not have a type of content. So it's not the parent group. It's this one, the current page is user. So we want it to key off of whatever the current page is. And then again, down here, we put current user. So we're going to subtract the current pages user. And then if we refresh, now we see whoever Paul is friends with. And now this really becomes an important link because now if I want to get back to my homepage, I need to do that somehow. So I'm going to make this actually work. Clear that out. This is not needed. But when I click on that, I want to add the workflow of go to page. And it's just, we're not actually changing page. All we're doing is sending data. And we're going to go to the page of me, current user, myself. So now I can navigate a little bit better. I can get to mine. I can go to Paul. I can see who Paul's friends with. I can go back to mine. I can go to Jack and see who Jack's friends with. Now, there's one problem. This still says my friends. So we're going to change that. This will be the last thing we do tonight. So this says my friends by default. What we really want it to say is the name of the current page's user. So their name. Actually, I'm kind of doing this in the wrong place. We need to do text. I'm not working on the condition yet. So instead of my friends, it needs to say the current page's user's name, their friends. So you put the apostrophe S, their friends. Okay, and when do we want to do this? Let's just start with just always. So actually, if we want it to always happen, it doesn't need to be in a condition. It'll always happen here. So I move that over. I'm going to put that apostrophe S. We'll refresh just so you see what that looks like. Alara Thorne's friends, Paul's friends, Jack's friends. But when I click on home, it's a little weird that it says Alara Thorne's friend. I'm Alara Thorne at this moment. So let's put the condition in when current page's user is current user, when I'm looking at my own page. Then we make it say my friends.
Brenton, what is current pages user? How did you get current pages user?
Yeah, that's really important to understand. Oh, wait, that broke. Why did that break? Current pages user, it's built into Bubble. For some reason that didn't show up at first, but it's there now. So you can define the data type, the type of content for any element in Bubble. I think almost every single element. So you do that in here. Here's just a regular group by selecting a type of content. And that could be a number, that could be a data type, it could be a yes, no, whatever you want. And then you can pass information into that element. You can also do that with the whole page. And you do that by clicking on the page up here, this very top item, and set the type of content. So in this case, the whole page is a user. And as I've been moving around, all of these actions I've been taking, what I've been doing is sending users to the page. So when I click on Paul right here, the workflow that I built is it's getting Paul's user and sending that to the page. And then everything on the page is looking at the page's user to find out what to do.
Can we see that workflow?
Yeah. So this right here, when you click on Paul's name or whoever it happens to be, actually I put it on the parent. So this is just a user thing, a user friendliness thing, but you can make a smaller thing to click on, or you can make a bigger thing to click on, which is nicer to users. Like give them the biggest thing that you can to click on. So I didn't put the workflow on the name, I put it on this parent one. So edit workflow. So it's a little tricky because what you're really doing is you're sending a user to the page, but the action is called go to page. And that's just a quirk of Bubble. This is the way that you send something to a page in Bubble is you go to the page and
Okay. It's kind of like a dummy link.
it's going to this is the page we're on. It's what?
Yeah. It's kind of like a dummy link.
Yeah, it's like a
not
dummy
going
link.
anywhere. We're just
We're going, so the destination is the page we're already on. And Bubble actually is smart enough, it doesn't reload the page.
Right.
When you go to a page that is the page you're already on, Bubble just sends the data. So what this is really doing is sending the data. So we should rename this and say send user to page. And that's a much more accurate description of what is happening.
Great.
This is starting to feel nice. It's starting to feel organized. When I click on a user, I can see their profile. And if I click on a user who I'm not friends with, I can't see their wall, but I can see some information about them. Their friends are public, but the wall is not. So this is coming along. And I've also been really carefully paying attention to styling to try to make it still look nice as I go. A lot of times when I develop, I'm just focused on the features, but the way it looks is important too. Cool. Well, we are 10 minutes over as usual.
What's up?
Yeah, well, yeah. If you don't get it done, I'll be pissed. Yeah, next week. Not us. So next week is the last.
Yep, next week is the last week.
Oh, man,
Well, that's the competition video.
I'm starting to like you guys.
Brandon,
Yeah.
what you got it for a competition video or something?
Hang on, let me reshare my screen. Can you say that again about the competition video?
Where is the competition video?
Oh, I'll send a link to it again. It's on YouTube somewhere. There's a search, see if we can find it. Senior Google engineer versus bubble beginners.
Oh,
That's the
right,
video.
right.
Y'all seen this?
Yeah.
So that's the video. And I'll paste it
So,
in Slack.
We do the to-do list for the competition.
Yeah, I just did that.
Was that a question for me? I couldn't quite hear it.
Yeah, I was asking what app do we have to like do for the competition?
It's a to-do app. So it's in the instructions, I mean, in the homework for week 7.
All right. Cool.
But it's a basic to-do app. And I want to give some advice that according to the rules of the competition, it doesn't have to look good. So like this Facebook clone that we're building, we're making it look good, but that's just going to slow you down in the competition. So in the competition, you need to focus on only meeting the bare minimum requirements, only doing exactly what it asks you to do. So you have to be able to input a task. And when you do that, it'll save it to the database. You have to be able to display a list of all the tasks that you've input. You have to be able to mark a task as done. That's really it. So it's a very, very simple task, a very, very simple app, I mean. And the way that you're gonna be able to build it in under 10 minutes is by practicing. So start with no app, build it, time yourself, record yourself even, see how long it takes, delete it and start over. Time yourself, see if you built it in less time, delete it and start over. Keep doing that until you get closer and closer to 10 minutes. Once you've gotten a video of under 10 minutes, then you can submit it to the channel. And the fastest times will be in the competition. So you can submit more than once if you record yourself doing it even faster, then you can resubmit. But the fastest ones are the ones who are going to be in the competition.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Have a good night, y'all.
Thanks, Prince.
Thank you.
Bye, my friends.
Thank you. Have a good night.